Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, I'm going to call our meeting of May 12th, 2021 to order. At this meeting, the commission will hold hearings and notice of intent, request for determination of applicability. The commission will also be voting on decisions and taking up other business. No hearing times have been assigned to the specific agenda items, and the commission will take them up in the order they are listed. Discussion and action items may be taken up at any time. In accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order, suspending provisions of the open meeting law, we will conduct this meeting online. The commission welcomes participation in the meeting by the applicants and general public. Attending the meeting tonight are 6 Conservation Commission members: Eric Foley, Margaret Wheeler, Jim Guzzo, Ian Jeffries, Marilyn Frank, and Peter Mahler, and the Conservation Planner, Matt Salem. This meeting is being recorded by Westford Cat TV. We respectfully ask that everyone mute their computer microphones and phones when they are not in use to avoid unnecessary noise during the meeting. This is an open meeting, so for all panelists who have access to the chat panel, please only use chat for technical issues related to the video conferencing. The commission will proceed by opening the agenda items, having the applicant or the representatives present the project, or if previously open in a public meeting, they will provide a brief summary of the project. The commission and the staff will follow with questions, and then we'll open up to the public for questions and comments. At this point, if you wish to participate, you will raise your hand and your microphone will be unmuted for you to participate. Due to the limitations of the platform, attendees that are accessing the meeting via the telephone number at the top of the agenda will only be able to listen to the proceedings and will not be able to contribute. Please access the video conference via the link on the agenda, even if you do not have a webcam to participate. I'll take a roll call. Eric?
Here.
Jim?
Here.
Margaret?
Here.
Marilyn?
Here.
Ian?
Here.
And Peter? Here. Okay, we're going to move on to our first agenda item, which is open forum. Commission members have anything for open forum? Marilyn?
Last night I went before the select board because they reviewed warrant articles, and one of the warrant articles was the CPA part, so that I wanted to report that they unanimously voted to support all of the CPA applications that are going forward. So that gives us both the FinCom and the select board have unanimously agreed, to support all of them.
Very good. Anybody else? Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, I'd like to thank Linda Kaylor of Buckingham Drive. She reached out to our office yesterday. She and her husband, while the Beaver Brook between Buckingham Drive and Southwick Circle was down, they took it upon themselves to remove probably 6+ tires, I think an old radiator, just a pretty Herculean task for 2 people, and they left it as a pile. And then I'd also like to thank the highway department for getting out there and cleaning it up. It was much appreciated to, one of the major waterways through town, to get out there and clean it up. Second item, just wanted to announce that the assistant planner position and the assistant planner is Sierra Pelletier. She will likely be, I'll ask her to join me tomorrow when it comes time to sign the results from today's meeting. So you guys can all be introduced to her. And last but not least, I just wanted to get the commission's feelings on kind of following back to the January 2020, where the forestry out at the Stony Brook Conservation Area was kind of put forth. I just wanted to get the commission's feelings and whether or not to go forward with hiring the consulting forestry consultant to develop the plan with which would get reported back to the commission.
Why not? Oh.
Hello, Matt?
Yep.
Could we put this on as a discussion item on the agenda of one of our next meetings? Because I
Certainly.
think members of the public would like to hear what's being proposed and maybe have some comments to offer too.
Okay, I mean, this is following back from the commission's kind of discussion back to January. I mean, there hasn't been too much headway made. You know, it was one of those items that, you know, Carol was working on, and then, you know, the pandemic hit. And so it's kind of fell to the back burner. And I was just kind of looking for the commission direction, but I'd be happy to add it as a discussion item for the May 26th meeting.
Thank you. I've had a request to do that, or a couple of requests, and it was quite a while ago. I did vaguely remember that we'd already talked about it. So, but thank you. That would be good.
Okay, yeah, I'll add the meeting minutes under the discussion heading, just to kind of refresh everyone's memory.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's good.
That's all I have.
Okay. Any comments from the audience in open forum? I don't see any. See anything, Matt? See any raised hands?
No, I do not see. Oh, one last thing, just as a follow-up from the previous meeting. I know the commission asked about where things stood with the 11 Brookside appeal, and we received correspondence, or DEP received correspondence from the applicant with regards to their appeal. It's not, it wasn't, it was more just kind of talking about site viability. But again, it was, I think a copy was just sent to us as a CC. You know, it was from the applicant to the DEP.
Okay.
And I see, oh, there is a hand raised now, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead. Who is it?
Miriam Cadanci, if you please state your name in the record, and your hand isn't actually raised. I just saw that you have submitted a question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. It says here on my screen that it's raised. Anyway, I had a comment about that very topic, because the day after Jim mentioned that we might have gotten lost, I actually got that information in the mail and sent it in to Matt and Jeff. And I will be sending in a reply, and I will copy everyone and try to remind the DEP to keep us all informed of everything that's going on here. So you'll get that over the next couple of weeks, just in case you want to throw it in the packet for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right,
Will do.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a continuation of a public hearing for Eagle Scout candidate Anoop for the Cottonwood Trail. He's requested a continuance to our next meeting of May 26th. So can I have a motion to continue this to our May 26th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
And Ian?
Yes.
Ian? Yes, and Peter, yes. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing for the Westford Healthy Lakes and Ponds Collaborative and the Friends of Forge Pond Outlet Channel and Forge Pond Beach Parking Area. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, the Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 12, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation on the notice of intent application of the Friends of Forge Pond for the removal of accumulated sediments within the Forge Pond Outlet Channel, land under water bodies and waterways, and site work related to access and stockpiling with 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland resource area at Forge Pond Beach and the Forge Pond Outlet Channel. Assessors map 53, lot 12. Okay, guys, welcome.
I'm muted. I think they're muted.
Yes, both of both Bob and Steve and Dave, you're all muted. There should be a panel on the right side of your screen. If you click the microphone, you'll be unmuted.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Yep.
There you go.
Yes.
You good?
Okay, and then share my webcam. Okay, there we go. Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, hi. So the applicant for this so I'll give you a short introduction, couple-minute introduction. The applicant for this project is the Westford Healthy Lakes and Ponds Collaborative, supported by Ray Dick, Director of Environmental Services, and Matt Salem, Conservation Resource Planner. The Friends of Forge Pond is a proponent of the project. Here tonight to discuss the project are Friends of Forge Pond members, myself, Dave Barr, Steve Haddon here with me, and Mike Broderick may be joining us. He's traveling. Myself and Steve are active members of the Healthy Lakes and Ponds Collaborative. Bob Hartzell is also here to discuss the project. Bob is a certified lake manager and a certified lake professional in erosion and sediment control, and a former Friends of Forge Pond member. We propose to restore flow capacity of the Forge Pond outlet channel by removing some accumulated sediment. The project will improve the effectiveness and consistency of the annual drawdowns in the lake level of Forge Pond, which helps control invasive non-native aquatic plant species. There are several non-native plant species that have infested the lake, and these degrade both the recreational uses of the lake and the habitat of rooted plant growth by outcompeting beneficial native species. The project was recommended by Geosyntec Consultants based on an evaluation that they did of Forge Pond drawdown capability commissioned by the Friends. The study found that minor dredging of the Forge Pond outlet channel will increase the drawdown potential and would also allow successful drawdowns to be more reliably than is currently possible. Geosyntec recommended removing up to 9 inches of sediment along about 200 feet of the outlet channel. They're showing that right here. So. Yep. To the left of that upper display, and then along the blue line in that channel on the display that's on the screen now. We would if down the stream bed down to a target elevation of 199 feet above sea level. This would remove up to 99 cubic meters of material. The proposed method for removing the channel sediment is to first excavate with a long reach excavator from within the channel. A temporary stone access ramp will be constructed to allow safe access from the bank into the channel. Next, transport of material from the excavator to a temporary upland stockpile and dewatering area would be handled by a low ground pressure transport vehicle to that green area shown in the parking lot. The ramp is below the parking lot in that wavy brown area. Finally, the transport of the dredge material after dewatering would be made to a final stockpile location for possible reuse. Rigorous environmental protections will be used as follows. Prior to dredging operations, the downstream area will be protected from sediment transport with the silt boom. The dewatering area will be surrounded by a perimeter of erosion and sedimentation controls, and the access ramp will be removed Bank conditions will be restored and vegetated to pre-construction conditions upon the completion of the project. So we look forward to reviewing the project in more detail with all of you. Thank you.
Oh, Marilyn had a question.
No, I don't know where the mics are reverberating. I'm having real difficulty. I understood him, but it's with constant feedback on his mic. You know what that is, Matt? Why we're not getting a better signal from him?
I think that might be Mr. Haddon's speakers. So just when you're not speaking, if you could mute your microphone, Steve and Dave, please, that'd be great.
Yeah, Jim?
Yes, I have two questions. One, the diagram that's being shown right now shows that perimeter control that's going to be installed before the long reach dredging begins. Could you explain how that works, how that's going to prevent flowing of sediment down towards the dam?
Yeah, Matt, asking is, do you have Bob Hartzell on his own link? Oh, there he is. Yeah. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Jim, will you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. I'm wondering if you could explain how that downstream barrier will prevent silt from flowing down towards the dam. What could you explain it? I'm not familiar with that type of barrier, and I'm wondering if you could describe it.
Well, I can give a quick overview of that. So that's basically what's called a Brockton Type 2 silt dam. It essentially has a floating boom that's at the water surface, and it's anchored in on the side. So, the water's flowing downstream, essentially north or towards the top of the page. So it'll be in a U-shaped configuration, just by virtue of the flow. And there's a weighted, basically a chain weighted bottom to it that will sit on the bottom sediment. So essentially it's taking, the suspended sediment and it's knocking it down and dropping it to the bottom of the curtain so that it won't continue downstream and, essentially, layer fines over a much broader area of the stream bed, both within the outlet channel and then beyond into Stony Brook. So the idea is to sort of capture it, knock it down, and keep it within a confined footprint.
So all the water that flows through that outlet channel has to flow through that sort of a filter.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that it can be, it's fairly flexible. You can anchor it in a number of ways. In some cases, in some configurations, you can, essentially create and anchor down your barrier so that you leave a flow path on one side or other of the channel. But for an area as skinny as this, it's generally, okay to just go from bank to bank. You see this thing, this type of thing used a lot in all sorts of flowing systems. One that comes to mind is there's one that's more or less permanently in place in between two of the basins at Wachusett Reservoir, and it's used primarily to keep floating fragments of invasive plants from moving from one basin to another. So even though there's significant flow through there, it still works quite well. It holds up against the flows. It it does its job of knocking down particles essentially.
Okay, thank you. The other question I had is, what's the cost estimate for this whole project? I saw what some funding is mentioned in the application, but it didn't indicate what the estimated cost is.
I unmuted. Okay. Yeah. So we've worked with a environmental company that does this kind of work, and their estimate was under 40,000. So we have, like you saw, funding for half that amount from Littleton, and we have allocated funding from the CPC for another 20,000, which will need to get approved at town meeting. And if there is something for some reason that causes the costs to go above that, Friends of Forge Pond expects to cover those.
So you have an estimate right now, the contractor to do this for 40,000 or under 40,000, you said?
Right.
Which?
Somewhat under.
It was my feeling when we got the cost estimate that that was conservatively high based on rounding up the number of expected days for the excavation. I've seen this kind of thing done on several projects where, you know, you can remove a lot more material in one day than what we're talking about here. I mean, once they're done, you know, they're going to spend a day getting in, more or less setting up the operation, mobilizing, you know, laying down the erosion controls and the silt boom. The actual work in, once they've got the excavator in the channel, they're going to be, in my opinion, my experience, you know, there's no guarantees here, but if they know what they're doing, and they should, they're in and out of there in less than a day. So most of the work, I mean, probably spend more time mobilizing and demobilizing than actually excavating. I mean, 99 cubic yards in the scheme of things for somebody who's experienced with an excavator is a quantity they can move in and out pretty quick.
Okay, thank you.
Marilyn?
If I may, I don't think that you may have heard what I said earlier in the meeting. I sit on the CPA as the vice chair. And for your information, both the finance committee and the select board are recommending this to the town at the town meeting unanimously. So that just means it goes forward that way. The town still has to vote on it at town meeting, but it's always good to have recommendations of both these committees in a positive.
Yes, thanks, Marilyn. That's good news.
Yeah, Eric?
So the access ramp that the excavators, you know, got to go out. So you're going to build this temporary access ramp so you can get out into the channel. You know, once you've done your excavation, you're going to be removing that temporary access ramp.
Yes, that would be removed and the area would be restored.
Okay.
Yeah.
The access ramp will be right there. Yeah, I mean, on figure 5 there, which is on the screen, the access ramp is in the area that goes below the parking lot, that wavy.
Oh, I see it. I get that.
Yeah.
But you'll still be putting that ramp in there, and then you're getting access into that area of the channel. I just wanted to make sure, you know, if it was temporary, if it was going to be removed, or what your plans were for it afterwards.
Yes, that'll be removed and the area will be restored. We met with Jim Duane at the site last fall, and that was, you know, that was one of his concerns too, and we've agreed that that's, I mean, that was our plan all along. We have a letter of recommendation in the notice of intent from the Park and Recreation Department and Commission, and I guess formally from the department, but we've also had a recommendation from the commission prior to the CPC meetings.
Yeah, no, I think this is all good. I guess one of my other questions would be, when you're doing the dewatering, are we channeling the dewatered water out of the excavated material to a central location, you know, some sort of sump or detention basin or something? Or are we just putting it in an area that's surrounded by silt fence and letting it just dewater without directing it to a point source or a location?
It's closer to the second scenario where, so it's not just silt fence, it's actually a specific perimeter control called Silt Sock Extreme, which is designed specifically to be used on paved, you know, asphalt surfaces. So the idea is that you've got a broad area and that it will just, you know, gradually, you know, it will grab the sediment, but allow the water to weep out, which is typical for projects of this type. You really wouldn't want concentrated flow coming from one area, or even even pumping with a sump pump, if you had enough of a sump to do that, it's still going to be more likely to pick up fines and send them up. So having this sort of diffuse flow from the perimeter after
So a slow dewatering process,
right?
a very slow dewatering process then.
Yes, correct.
Fine, that's fine.
Okay, any other comments from the
previous
commission?
question? I didn't mean to talk over you there. It's the
It's all
challenge.
right.
Just to the previous question, it is specified in writing on page 41 of the application that the area of the access ramp will be removed and the conditions will be restored and revegetated to pre-construction conditions. So it's there in writing. It'd be an easy thing to grab and throw into a condition, but it's already in the application.
Okay. Matt, you had a question?
It was primarily just to, this has been received by DEP, but we haven't received any technical comments, nor the issuance of the file number. So hopefully that can be achieved by the by the commission's next meeting.
Any more questions from the commission? Any questions from the audience in this application?
I don't see any.
Okay, so can I have a motion to continue this to our May 26th meeting?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Eric,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Marilyn, Ann,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, you guys, we'll see you in a couple of weeks and we'll work on an order of conditions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a public hearing for Mulroy, 46 Lawson Road, 3341759. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 12, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. via remote participation on the notice of intent application of Kevin Mulroy for the construction of a second story to the existing house, removal of trees and installation of an infiltration trench with 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 46 Lawson Road, assessors map 73, parcel 137. Welcome.
Could the real Jeff, if you could raise your hand, so you must have sent your link to somebody else. So, oh, I guess it's the same one twice. All right.
Twice. Yeah.
Put that hand up. Jeff, I think you're on the mic.
And can you hear me? This is Dan Doherty.
Yep.
I can hear Dan.
You damn.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually here for Kevin and Joni Mulroy.
You are, okay.
Basically, yeah. Basically, we have a situation here where everything's tight, but you can see from the design that we're essentially just trying to put some sonotubes in there and kind of build on the roofing systems there just to move the bedroom that's on the first floor up to the second floor. And that's basically what this whole addition is. If you can look at, if you notice the front on the lake side, there's existing decks there that aren't even going to be touched. And everything's so tight on both sides that's really why we chose to put the sonotubes on the outside of the existing. We're not going to excavate or raise the building at all. We're just basically going to cut the roof off from the porch side back. You can see where the dotted line is showing you that. So it's pretty on the scale of what we've done on Lake. It's a pretty simple one actually. So they're just trying to get a bigger a master bedroom with some closets because this existing house doesn't have that.
Okay, so how many trees have to come down? Yeah.
There's a cluster on the side that actually yeah, exactly. Those trees, one is leaning pretty extensively over the house now, and the other one is like over the neighbors. So those would have to come out, and we're happy to, once we, also, we're gonna be doing this with a mini excavator, so it's not gonna require a whole bunch of excavation of any kind. So way those big feet work, the concrete pillars, when you dig the hole, you put it right in place and you're done. There's no pouring, there's no anything. So you just tamp it down and backfill it, and you're pretty much done. Those are the cluster of trees, but once we're done that, we're happy to take that cluster of stumps and plant something else there, would be the plan. Other than that, there's not much more that requires any kind of a, that's going to impact a lot at all.
So what about the roof drainage? What happens to the roof drainage now, and is it going to change when you put in the new second story?
Well, yeah, I think Jeff is showing some infiltration a little bit on that same side, but there's not really that much to do. I mean, it's once it's there, it's doing what it's doing now, and it's not going to change too much. So I don't see.
So it's a peak. It's got a peak roof now, and it's going to have a peak roof afterwards. Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a little slopey right now. I mean, it's more of a flat roof, but it's going to have more of a pitch to it. And we're happy to, like, I would think that most of that both sides of that, rather than have any kind of maintenance and have the scrub, they could actually do a trench and just stone it.
A drip edge or something, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that?
Yeah, drip
I
edge.
didn't hear
Just
that,
a drip edge with stone on it. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I
Any
didn't
other
hear what Eric
questions
said.
from the Any questions? No, Margaret?
Yeah, I was just wondering, looking at how close the hot tub is to the lake, was there ever a request filed to install that there?
I don't know. That's an existing condition there, so I would venture a guess and say probably not. So I don't even know it runs, to be honest with you. So
Matt?
Oh, I was going to say, there was a previous filing or the request for a certificate of compliance back maybe a year ago or 18 months to close out, and a very early on order of conditions for this property. I think it was a 2-digit or 100 number, and that was, I think, and I think that included, the construction of the shed out back, but also I think the deck at that time. Dan, is the hot tub on the deck, or is it on the ground?
It's on. I think it's just on like a stone patio kind of thing. Okay. So it's not on the existing. The whole front yard basically is deck, but this is underneath those, around that little cluster of trees, so I would say it's not part of the wooden deck. That's what you're asking me.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay, any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, question, Eric?
Dan, the sonotubes, how deep? And I'm assuming that there's not a lot of soil associated with, digging up the soil for, installation of the sonotubes. So are you just spreading that soil amongst the property, or are you removing it, or?
Well, we'd remove just what we need to put the sonotube in, the replacement part of it. And we trucked up the same. Actually, we'll do it as we dig the sonotube. Basically, the mini excavator would load it up onto in this case here, just a 1-ton. Then the sonotube would get placed with the same machine and then tamped down and backfilled. So you do one as you work yourself back. So it's the instantaneous situation.
So you're going to start.
There's a detail in that plan that shows what the sonotube is.
Okay.
Report.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Questions from the audience? Matt, we have a question from Susan Ledoux.
Yes, Susan, if you could state your name and address for the record, please. Susan, you are unmuted.
Susan, are you there?
She is. I think she's not. It says her audio is connected and she's unmuted, but I don't think it's getting picked up, or there's some yeah, I can't promote her to a panelist to troubleshoot. Nope.
Did she write her question?
Nope, I think I just heard her.
Yeah, I thought he did.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you now. Yep.
Oh, yay. Well, hi. My name's Susan Ledoux. I live at 1 Easy Street. My beach and my house abut this property. I have two questions. I don't know if we were at the same meeting, but about a year ago to get a variance for the new septic system on the property because it wasn't quite 100 feet from my well. So my concern and only concern, I think it'll be a beautiful addition, but my only concern is that I know the septic system that's in is only rated for one bedroom and no more. I just want to make sure that no other bathroom is being built, or because I'm concerned about my well. Obviously, it's a 20-foot drift point.
Mr. Chair, I can confirm with the Board of Health. I can get their plan and get their input from this as well, if that would be satisfactory.
Yeah, before we write the order of conditions.
Yeah. And it's really not the number of bathrooms, it's the number of bedrooms.
Right. I corrected myself after that, I think.
Yeah. No. But
Because if it's bedrooms, actually, the bunkhouse where it says office shed is sleeping quarters for 3 beds. But anyways, there's no closet in it, so I guess it's not really a bedroom. But
I'll talk with Board of Health. We'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
now we'll check with the Board of Health because they're the ones that issue that. So
okay.
Yeah, just to speak to that, this is Kevin and Joni Mulroy's like retirement home. It's just going to be a couple. So there's not going to be any more bedrooms other than what exists there now. It's a 1-bedroom stay and a 1-bedroom.
Okay, no, that's fine. I don't know if we went through a whole thing to make sure that the well was safe, and that's my only concern.
Right.
And I know that the previous owner tested the water from my well, and it was perfect, before the system. So hopefully everything will work the way it's supposed to.
Right.
My second question is, which side of the house, if you're facing the house from the lake, which side of the house do you think the drainage would be? I'm also concerned about the drainage washing away the sand on our beach, and just because we have a drainage issue anyways.
It's going to have a peaked roof, so it's going to come down both sides off the peak, and he's going to have it's going to be a drip edge, so there's no gutters, and the water's going to flow down into fresh stone beds to collect the water.
Okay. Because years ago, that property, I mean, I've lived there since '56, but years ago, that property would flood our beach a lot. Just going under the fence, but I know they've raised the property up a little bit with the new septic system, so we haven't had that problem at all, which is great. I was just concerned.
You should with the new one, because he's going to put in new infiltration beds on each side of the where the water drips down.
Okay, that's great. Those were my only concerns. I think it'll be a beautiful addition. It'll kill a little bit of my view, but not too bad.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, and we will confirm with the Board of Health that it's still going to be a 1-bedroom. So that's not going to, hopefully not, will be an issue. Okay, any other questions from the audience? I don't see any. So we will continue this and write the order of conditions at our next meeting on May 26th. Can I have a motion to continue it then?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Eric,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you. Hopefully we'll see you in person soon, huh?
Hey,
Yeah.
that might
That'd be
happen.
nice, huh? Yeah,
Would be.
Take care. Thanks,
All right.
folks.
okay. Okay, our next agenda item is a public hearing for Moda Shiva, 13 Sand Beach Road. It's an IDA. This is a legal notice under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, Wetlands Non-Zoning Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 171. The Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 12th, 2021 at 7:30 PM via remote participation to consider request for determination of applicability filed by Adita Dadash Modashiva for the construction of a backyard fence with 100 feet of a jurisdictional wetland at 13 Sand Beach Road, assesses map 67, parcel 13.
I don't see the applicant in attendance, Mr. Chair. So with that, I would request that, I mean, we can go to Jim first, but we can,
I'm
probably.
assuming, Matt, that you want to continue it?
Yes.
Well, we can't even open it because we don't have you received the certified mail receipts?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
yes, I have received the certified mail receipts.
So open it and continue it.
Okay, we'll open continue. Jim?
My concern is that there were no plans
Yeah.
connected with
Yeah.
this. And I went to in this legal notice we're looking at right now, it refers you to the town's document management system. And on the abutters notice, it said the same thing. And I went there and there's no plans there either.
Right, yeah, that's, we will have, I have been trying to contact him probably for the 4 days leading up and 5 days all last week for a plan in a PDF. Did not receive it. So we can continue, and the commission will most certainly have a plan to review for the next meeting. I will follow up with him.
Given that they didn't include any plan at all, I would make sure you tell them that the plan has to show the dimensions, the location of the proposed fence, and the distances to all wetlands, as well as the area wetlands. Because from looking at the property, it looks like there's a large area of wetlands behind it. I don't know where they're planning the fence. There's not even a hint about that. So.
Right, yeah, I spoke with him, and we'll make sure to have a plan for the commission to review.
Okay. To continue?
Yep, motion to continue on May 26th.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Eric,
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a continuation of a public hearing for GMH Realty LLC, 124 Main Street, which is in Enrod, 3341748. And we received a letter from Matt Otterman. Did you guys have a copy of this?
Yes, I sent that out to the commission yesterday. Mr. Waterman is in attendance.
Okay. Matt, you there?
Hi, I am. Thank you for waiting so long to hear this meeting. I can go through and just give a quick update if the commission would like, and kind of
Sure.
give a sense of where we're at.
Yep.
I'm sure everyone remembers the site. It's the former Hicks Farm on 124 Main Street. We had 3 meetings back in June and July of last year. And
I think we lost Matt.
Yeah. We lost Matt.
It still says.
Matt, we can't hear you.
I think he's left. Oh, there's another Matt Warner.
What?
There's always another one in the
Crashed out,
audience.
sorry.
This is
It did a hard crash and it said there was a problem, and I apologize.
That's okay.
But we had several meetings last year. We had a couple site walks. The abutters were at the second site walk. We walked it with Carol and Matt, the botanist, Norse Environmental. Then we went into the drought at the end of last summer. We continued into the fall 3 or 4 times and then pushed it all the way till today. We just came out of a drought, is my understanding. I've been there twice this spring, back in early April, and then again yesterday. I didn't go onto the property or to the abutters property specifically, but I checked the brook at the down gradient Kersey Circle culvert, and that was flowing both times. So I think in order for this to kind of go back to a status where we could make or provide additional information, we'd be waiting again, I think, until August potentially, and that would be weather dependent, drought dependent. And so I think they're looking to move forward on some construction items, and we would request that the commission take action on the NRAD as is with the information provided. I do know that there was some discussion last summer on the photographic evidence of the riverfront. I don't think there was any issues with the BVW. There was one flag that was moved in the back left corner that's been updated. So I think the commission was comfortable with the bordering vegetative wetland. I think the only outstanding item was the riverfront. We had provided documentation in the back left corner, and we were facing away from the river. We weren't facing towards the river. And then there was some documentation in the back right corner or the northeast corner that we weren't in the stream bed and that we were on the edge of a wetland that was directly adjacent to it with some of the pictures. I think there was some of the photos were in the riverbed, but at the site walk, I know the commission or some of the members were there, and there was a small trickle on the northeast side as we kind of started on the right-hand side of this plan and walked all the way to the left-hand side as you're looking at this plan. And there was, even though the stream bed was dry, I think there is some groundwater influence that kind of trickles. There's always a little constant tiny flow of water due to groundwater. I think it was obvious when we were all standing there that I think it was dry by all intents purposes, but if you got right down and looked at it, there was a small trickle of water. We would ask that the commission make approve the bordering vegetated wetland, and then with respect to any riverfront determination, either not take action on the riverfront, or what I personally think is happening is I think with that groundwater influence is on that right-hand side, and you can see in the middle of our plan, there's a stream channel culvert ditch that comes in between, I think it's 7 and 9 Douglas Road. And then it confluences with our river and then flows to the right-hand side as you're looking at this plan. I think beyond that, if you're heading to the left or to the west of this plan, I don't think there was much question, in my personal opinion, that the river kind of ended there. The river ends about 12 flags up. It ends at riverfront flag number 6. As from the GIS, if you do a direct overlay, the botanist had extended or put additional bank flags, but the river, as classified on the USGS, starts or begins at riverfront flag number 6. So I guess I would just ask that maybe the commission consider declassifying that first section from, wetland flag or riverfront flag 6 to riverfront flag 17, which is the confluence of those two channels, if they would consider that. But otherwise, I don't have any new information for the board to consider or document.
Okay, discussion, you guys. I mean, the last time we had the site visit, and I don't think at that point the commission was willing to make a determination that this wasn't a perennial stream. based on the evidence, right?
Right.
Right. I didn't think we could make that determination. I didn't think they provided sufficient information or what they needed to provide to demonstrate that it wasn't perennial. So I don't know what activities they seek to do on the property, but at this point, I still consider the stream to be perennial. If there are activities on the site that they're looking to do that are outside of that area, then,
Right. Yeah.
it's not really within our jurisdiction, but, I don't think that, at least personally, that I've seen enough information to consider the stream anything but perennial.
Okay. The rest of the commission agree with that assessment?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, I do too. All right, so we can approve the ANRAD as far as the wetland flagging goes, but we will not approve declassifying the stream as perennial. So Matt, you'll have to write this up and we'll have to approve it at our next meeting.
Yes, I'll have a draft available for your review on the 26th.
All right. All right, Matt, thanks for coming tonight.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a good night.
So can we continue this to one more meeting so he can write this up?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, Eric,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, we're moving on to our next item, which is a continuation of a hearing for Franklin at 31 Bridge Street. Chris, you there?
He is in the audience. I'm just slow moving around. Sorry, Mr. Chair. Chris.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
have the background light on. Or can you see me?
Yeah, put you on camera.
Okay.
Do I have-
So Chris, have we made any more progress in the last month?
We have. We made some, not significant, but I did hire a high schooler that's something. We should have a significant amount of work done. We started 3 or 4 days ago, pecking away at it. We are in earnest going to I have him available to work on it for the next month. We should see a fair amount of activity to get things cleaned up. The question I have, you were out there a year, January ago. The question I have, there is that truck body that is in the swamp area. You wanted that removed, or Carol wanted that removed. The question is, I'm afraid it might do significantly more damage than I would if I just left it, because it's just raw steel rotting away, and there's like 2-3 trees growing up in the frame of the body. I mean, there's no motors. I don't think there's any axles. Maybe there's axles, but it's just a metal frame and all the rest. And we'll have to cut some trees down and get some equipment to tow it out. And I didn't know if that's what you wanted done for me to get that out of there, or just let the vegetation
I don't think so.
or whatever.
I'd rather clean it up.
All right.
Eric?
I can't, it was over a year ago, I almost, so it's hard for me to remember. Maybe at some point we should just go take a peek in a little bit just to see the progress, maybe,
Right.
After you're hard at work and you've got your high school, cohort there ready to have at it, maybe we should go out there and see it in a month. And then maybe at that time, look at the wreck where the trees coming through it that, you feel should be left, and we could evaluate it then.
All right. No, that will work
That
for
makes
me.
sense?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
So I'd like to schedule a site visit. So if we schedule a site visit before our second meeting in June,
Yep.
That would be good timing, so we can see what progress has been made.
oh, sure.
Yeah.
Should be no problem
Okay.
at all. Unless he quits. Then I'm a dead man walking.
Okay.
I hope not.
I hope not too, trust me.
Yeah.
Been a good kid so far, so it's, you know, it's been worked out, you know, I don't want to say
Yeah.
exchange, whatever the high school has for the kids to do projects.
The internship.
The internship, it's worked out very well so far.
Awesome.
Hopefully he's learning things, and it's been a very big help.
So on our first meeting in June, Matt, put on the agenda that we're going to set a site visit for Chris at that meeting. Okay.
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 That'd be wonderful. It'll probably be just as warm as it was in January when you were out there the last time, so.
Yeah. Okay. So can I have a motion to continue this to what's our second meeting in June?
June 23rd, Mr. Chair.
June 23rd?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, our next item is a discussion item for a proposed Eagle Scout project for conservation property signs. William Zoo.
Bring him up, Mr. Chair. William, if you unmute yourself and turn on your webcam.
All right, works.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone first for taking their time today to hear this, and I'd also like to thank Mr. Silt for helping me through this entire process before I start.
Oh,
We're getting feedback
It's gonna work. Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
audio.
William, I don't know if it's your headset or, but we're getting pretty bad feedback. If you could try just using the normal microphone, a normal computer microphone, or try doing something.
What's the best way to fix this? I'm not good with technology either.
Check of his headphones.
Yeah, is your headphones connected via Bluetooth? And do you have a microphone? I would try disconnecting your headphones and just using the computer mic as opposed to the mic associated with your headphones. That might be it.
Unplug them.
I don't think there's a plug, Marilyn.
Okay. Did that fix it? I'm not sure if that fixed it.
Language I would understand.
Oh, no, I can't hear anything.
No, you can't?
Oh, that's too bad because you're coming through loud and clear.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so this is I'm a life scout here in town. So this is going to be a project that I'm proposing to build 4 signs. They're basically intended to replace or build 4 signs around town, and they're going to be located at trailheads. They're going to be at the Peace Trail sign on Boston Road, the Emmett Conservation Land sign, Texas Road, the Stone Arch Bridge sign on Cold Spring Road, and there should be another one for a trailhead that is yet to be built at Kersey Circle. They're all based on a current sign at Grassy Pond, which I was using as a reference for this entire project. So this is just the current sign and the area of the Peace Trail sign on Boston Road. It's set pretty close to the road right now, so it's viewable from both directions, and I'm planning on keeping it that way. The sign content should also remain the same. Or as of right now, I'd love to hear any opinions if there are any, or I actually love to get input. If there's anything that you guys like to add for sign content for anything, even location, that'd also be a good one.
Well, the Peace Trail looks good if you just replace it, so
Yeah.
it's in a good spot.
Awesome. Okay.
What contrast would make it stand out to be read as you pass it by? What?
Well, I was gonna keep it in the same style as the Grassy Pond.
That's
one,
our
just like,
standard, Maryland.
round.
That's our standard sign right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grassy Pond is clearer than that one. Maybe it's the age. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Jim?
Jim, sorry.
Yeah, I have a comment and a question. The comment has to do with the size of the lettering. I know in your presentation you mentioned the sizing, but I think if you go back to the Grassy Pond sign, that size that you were mentioning are the smallest letters on the bottom part of the lower sign, where it says Westford Conservation Commission. The Grassy Pond letters are significantly larger. So I'm hoping you're going to copy the exact same style and size for where it says Grassy Pond for the, Emmett Conservation or Peace Trail. And the bottom part where it says Westford Conservation Commission, you duplicate the same size there. Is that true?
Yeah, that was the plan.
Okay, the measurements in the presentation don't match the sign. I went and measured them. So, okay, good.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah,
question
I
I had is,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
the question I had was about what's the Kersey Circle sign going to say?
When we get to that one, that can be a discussion. William reached out to me kind of with his proposed language, and in the style of Grassy Pond, which has Grassy Pond up top, and then Westford Conservation Commission. I was going to say, oh yeah, that's great. Have that for the Peace Trail and the Emmett Conservation and the Stone Arch Bridge Trail. And then I started doing a little research, and it's really the Conservation Commission has parcels that are a part of it, but there's a whole, there's 2 and 3 entities for each one of the Peace Trail and the Stone Arch Bridge, and I don't know how many affiliation town entities we could put on one of those signs. It would look like the signs out at a Westford Valley Marketplace by the end of it, with
Westford, yeah,
the select board and the water department, and there's a lot of parcels that a lot of different entities that make up the Peace Trail and the Stone Arch Bridge. So, but William, if we want to skip ahead to the Adams, as Jim has brought up, that was a comment I recommended to him to seek your input as to what that should be.
Well, the parcel is the Adams Conservation parcel.
Probably that's what it should read.
And I think the bottom one should just say Westford Conservation Commission, I think.
Correct. That's just us, right? Yep.
Okay. All right, but it shouldn't say anything about Kersey Circle Trailhead. It should say Adams Conservation Land or Adams Conservation Parcel, something like that, and then below it Westford Conservation Commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, so for technical dimensions, new signs should be based on the current signs, and I have mostly the same dimensions at the moment. So they're gonna consist, for the posts, they're gonna consist of 2 6-inch by 6-inch by 8-foot posts from pressure treated wood buried 2 feet deep and they're gonna be in like a hole filled with gravel to anchor the posts. And I've actually contacted and reached out to Mr. Fontaine, the building commissioner, and he's said that it should be fine, and he basically approved it. So the posts are going to be about 3/5 of the entire width of each sign apart, and they're going to be, for the signs themselves, there'll be 2 pine boards measuring roughly 2 inches by 1 foot by 4 feet each. I could condense them to 1 board if that's what's desired, but at the moment I'm working off of a model of the Grassy Pond Trail, and that's what it is at the moment. The signs will be painted in a color that is Stuart House Brown, which is judged to be roughly the same color as the current Grassy Pond signs, and I was comparing the two.
Okay, good.
And there'll be a white
white
contrast with the lettering, right?
Yes. So right here it says
we need to get a graph of what each of the signs is going to look like, what the wording's going to be for each one of them.
Yeah. So the wording I've gotten they're mostly all going to remain the same except for the Kersey Circle one. That one's the only one that was, I think, I needed the commission's input on, because the entire trail hasn't been built yet. As well as, before I continue, I'd also like to ask if you guys had any input on the location, because the trail hasn't been built yet. I was wondering if there's anyone I could contact to find out anything about the new trailhead that has not yet been built.
Yeah,
Because I went out there.
Yeah, Matt can show you, because Matt and I have been out there, and he has a good idea where the trailhead will be.
Awesome. Okay, that's awesome, because yeah, I'll need it to know in order to build the sign and decide where to put it.
Okay.
So continuing with technical dimensions, the font will be pretty much the same thing as the grassy pond sign, which I found to be something known as EV Airman. You can see an example of it right there. That will be carved into the wood and painted white, and it should be about 2 inches tall for the first letter in the word, such as the W in Westford Conservation Commission, and 1 3/4 inches tall for the rest of the letters, in a similar, actually the same style to the current grassy pond signs. And it might change slightly depending on how long each one. For example, Emmett Conservation Land might have to be slightly smaller, or I might just make a bigger board. Either way would probably work for me. And they're going to be held onto the posts using 8-inch carriage bolts with 4 bolts per piece of wood. So yeah, this is just a rough design of the sign that I have at the moment, more or less to scale. That's pretty much all I have. I'd love to hear anything.
We actually get a draft, what each one's gonna say. I think that'd be a good idea.
Before.
Oh, sure.
The size,
Yeah,
the
I can
size of
get
the
that to
lettering
you guys.
indicated.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, I'll get that to you guys if that's what's necessary.
Looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, those all need to be redone, so, great.
Good project.
Okay. Yeah. So why don't we just take a vote to approve this?
I moved.
Second,
All in favor? Eric?
yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, so you'll work with Matt on location of the Kersey Circle, and you will also get Matt what you're going to put on each side for wording, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you, Mike.
thank you. Great
Thank you.
project.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to our next action item, which is a request to extend an order for 1 year for 3341683 5 Tingsboro Road.
So, Mr. Chair, I think the homeowner is actually in attendance, but Jeff, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, hi, Jeff.
Great. Modern technology. Good evening, everybody. Quick update. The reason we had not requested the COC was all about the dock license. We applied for that in this past June of 2020. We received the draft in November, and over the past month or so, I've done a lot of digging to find out what the status was. I finally got a phone call yesterday from a person at DEP Waterways, and got confirmation that our license, along with a stack of others, was signed by the governor this morning. So that will be coming in the mail within the next week or two. So finally, once we have that, get that situated, then everything's been stabilized for over a year now. So we'll be requesting the COC fairly soon. One of the things that was brought to my attention in the phone call yesterday, when I mentioned that I was coming before the commission, they stated that, and I didn't know this, that the legislature had voted as of May 10th, 2020, to toll all permits until the state of emergency was lifted. So he said technically our extension that we applied for last year that we thought was going to expire this May 26th, he said and actually it's still in effect and will be. I don't know if you know how tolling of permits works, but effectively as of May 10th, 2020, any active permits were frozen in time and they're valid. The end date would be extended based on the time between May 10th, 2020 and the time the governor lifts the state of emergency. So technically, you don't need to act on this. It's still valid. When we get the license, we can put the dock in and over the next couple of months, apply for the COC and not have to go through the exercise of getting the extension, getting it recorded. It's still, the previous one's still valid. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, so we don't have to do that. You're still good. You're still good then. Yeah, okay.
And I just found that out, so I didn't have time to. All right.
Okay. So you're good.
Okay.
Thank
You
you.
don't have to do. Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Have a
Jeff.
good night.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item, which is a request to comply with the expired order of conditions 3340152, 92 Nutting Road. And I know, Matt, you've been out there to look at this property.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And also in attendance is Craig Grimm, the son of the previous owner. So this property was two separate parcels, 94 and 96 Nutting Road, were split off from this original property 3 years ago, probably 2 years ago now. Mr. Grimm is looking to sell the 92 Nutting Road. As such, during the title review process, this order of conditions, again, I think it's 150152. It's dating back to the mid 80s, when, as included in the packet material, the commission sent an enforcement order. There was a request for determination. There was even an order of conditions that was issued. And from the looks, the order of conditions and the enforcement order were never complied with in terms of, the debris and deletus material that was present on the site. With it being 30 years later, there has been established growth, within the wetland buffer. And so in order to after speaking with Mr. Grimm and doing a site visit, I wanted to follow back up with the commission to see what your preference was in terms of how to get this rectified in terms of cleaning up the material, cleaning up the site as in its present condition, as there is some invasive knotweed up by the garage, but more so down the bank towards Kai's Brook. It has become vegetated naturally over the years, and I wanted to get your input in terms of what was the extent to which cleaning up the site would be. Do we need to be digging up established vegetation now to remove what was disposed there, the materials that were on the site? I'm thinking my thoughts were to have to issue an enforcement order for Mr. Grimm to clean it up, to take care of the invasive species and the materials on the site, and then when the next property owner comes in, as this is being sold and likely will be the site will likely be redeveloped, we can have the next when they come before the commission in terms of the site development, we can require the standard conditions of today in terms of having conservation posts and kind of all the standard language that we include in orders today. But I wanted the commission's input, and if we can also, Mr. Grimm is, as I mentioned before, Mr. Grimm is in attendance.
Eric?
No, I was going to say, it sounds like definitely an enforcement order, probably to clean up the site and everything. But I mean, I can't, you're looking for, this is just simply a request to comply. They're not looking for a certificate or anything like that.
Well, they're going to be looking for a certificate of compliance, but as currently stated, in its current condition, I don't think it has, but the order of conditions has been complied with. So I don't think a certificate of compliance.
You got to issue the enforcement order and have them comply before we could issue a COC. And then, like you say, if there's going to be a new owner of the parcel, then we're looking at it new after that.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree.
Okay. What do you think, Jim?
Okay. So you write up the enforcement order, Matt? You good with it?
Yes, I'll prepare it. Mr. Chair, I might send it to you, send a draft to you for your review before I send it out.
Okay.
But this seems to be glad we can figure out a path forward for the applicant and the commission.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Good.
Sounds good. Okay, Mr. Grimm, any questions about that?
No, not until I see the enforcement order.
Okay.
I really agree or disagree with anything, so.
Okay. Okay. We'll
Okay,
get that to you as soon as possible. Okay.
Thank you.
Night. Yep. Okay, request for endorsement of conservation restriction.
That's also me. So we have heard back from the Executive Officer of Environment and Energy and Environmental Affairs regarding the conservations for 6, count them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 conservation restrictions that Carol had been diligently working on in her post-retirement time. And they have been approved for local signatures by the CR reviewer at the state. So if the commission is comfortable, I request the commission vote to endorse the conservation restrictions tomorrow.
You want us to sign them tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yes, if the commission votes to endorse, of course.
Right.
Jim?
Yeah, Jim?
Were there any significant markups or any edits at all? I didn't notice any edit changes. So no, nothing. Good.
No, I mean, once we got, I mean, there were reviews and revisions done between kind of Carol's first drafts and I think updating them to the division's standards CR and including that language, but nothing has changed since probably 2 months ago, where there was a couple kind of concerns by the Conservation Trust, but after that, no, I think there were minor administerial, somebody's I think the Conservation Trust, it said with their located at a PO box as opposed to with a mailing address of a PO box. And, so no substantial changes from after that. And
all right, thank you.
Okay.
I can have I'm planning on having a notary, pending a favorable vote. I was going to grab one of the notaries from the town clerk's office tomorrow to witness and sign these, and even I've spoken with the Conservation Trust President, Dave Ebbison, about also showing up at the similar time to just for as a matter of expediency. He's reviewed them as well, and they're we can get him to the select board for request their endorsement, at their next coming in one of their upcoming meetings.
Marilyn?
I was gonna say Tina is also notary, you know that.
I do.
Okay.
We'll find somebody with a stamp at town hall.
Okay, I got it. 2 of them will be there tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the conservation restrictions on 74 Switzer, 75 Timberlake, 76 Topinski, 77 Shelley Lane, 78 Keneally, and 79 Genova?
So moved.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Great. Okay, request for certificate of compliance. Lozada, 2 Nichols Way, 334-1592.
So this was the last certificate of compliance at Nichols Way. The homeowner dissolved their association with the developer, and that's why the developer is not requesting this. The homeowner has provided photographs and a statement about how there are no drainage controls. The detention basin behind the property is installed. The swales have all been installed on the property. The conservation posts have been installed, and I recommend the commission issue this order of conditions.
Okay, motion to approve.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. And the second one is for Votano, 24 Chippewa Road, 334-1754.
So this order of conditions was issued last fall for the construction of a 3 Seasons room off to the rear of the house, within, I think it was 35 feet of the wetland. And the homeowner reached out looking to close it up, looking to get a certificate of occupancy from the building department. I did a site visit last week, 2 weeks ago. Everything, the erosion control looked to be in good conditions. Didn't see any evidence of erosion. Underneath the construction was crushed stone, and I recommend the commission issue this certificate of compliance.
Okay, motion to approve certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes.
How about Marilyn?
Oh, Marilyn, I'm sorry, I forgot you, Marilyn.
The one who made them.
Makes the motion, doesn't get called on.
I'm slipping.
So funny.
Okay, how about the minutes from April 14th?
How about him?
They look good.
Any changes?
No.
No changes at all again? Wow, these minutes have been great, huh? Yeah.
They're really good, Matt. They're really good.
Yeah.
Yep. I will make sure to. The minutes taker will see all of your praise. In a couple weeks. So keep on. I don't need to tell her. She'll hear it right now.
Okay. All right. So motion to approve the minutes from April 14th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Margaret?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Ian?
Yes.
And Peter, yes. Okay, any other items? We good?
We're good.
We're good.
Next meeting might be a long one.
1 o'clock tomorrow.
1 o'clock tomorrow, man.
Okay,
Yes, 1 o'clock.
12,
At
all
the
right?
fire station or
Yes,
outside?
Marilyn, 12 o'clock is great.
Thank you.
Fire station or outside?
Let's do the fire station. There's going to be a lot of things with the 6 CRs. There's going to be a lot of pages. I don't want things blown away. It might just be easier to set them up in the fire station.
Okay.
Sounds like
All
a
right,
plan.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor, Eric,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Margaret,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
and Peter, yes. Okay, you guys. Thank you. Nice meeting.
Thank you.
Yep.
Night.
Night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you.